Bergweiler is an Ortsgemeinde, a municipality belonging to a Verbandsgemeinde, a kind of collective municipality, in the Bernkastel-Wittlich district in Rhineland-Palatinate, Germany. Geography. Location. The municipality lies some 5 kilometers west of the district seat, Wittlich, in the southern Eifel at an elevation of some 300 meters above sea level, and affords a raised view into the Wittlicher Senke. Bergweiler belongs to the Verbandsgemeinde of Wittlich land, whose seat is in Wittlich, although that town is itself not in the Verbandsgemeinde. Formerly the municipality was called Bergweiler, Wittlich, which express both the proximity to the district seat and the municipality's geographical location. Land use. The municipal area measures 13.25 square kilometers, of which 5.71 square kilometers is used for agriculture and 6.33 square kilometers is wooded. Neighboring municipalities. Bergweiler's neighbors are Wittlich, Bruckdreis and Hupperath. History. Near Bergweiler, traces of Stone Age settlement, stone tools, have been found that have been dated to around 3000 BC. There are also clues that point to Roman settlement near the village. In 981, Bergweiler had its first documentary mention as Wilray, an archaic form of the German word Weiler, meaning hamlet. Thereafter the name changed several times, mostly to fit the ever-changing language. Thus the village was in 1056 called Villarus, in 1171 Rhineland Villari, in 1184 Villa, in 1190 Villa, in 1219 Willer, in 1243 Remberlray. In the 14th century Wilray Supramontum, in 1417 Weiler, in 1428 Wilray, in 1487 Weiler, in 1569 Bergweiler, and then eventually Bergweiler in 1656. In an episcopal visitation protocol from 1669, this name is used for Bergweiler. For this same protocol comes the first mention of a small church which is known today as the Fintenkapelle. As early as the 13th century, Bergweiler was being described as a parish seat. In 1669 and 1833, the church was newly built on the same spot in what was then the centre of Bergweiler. In 1957, St. John's Catholic Church was renovated and partly converted, for the most part through the inhabitants' own work. Neighbouring the church with its forecourt is a graveyard. Housed in the accompanying parish hall is the village's Eifel Heimat Museum, a local history museum. The Fintenkapelle outside the village, from the 17th century, frequented as a local pilgrimage church, was in 1959 likewise renovated. The small field chapel is known as a pilgrimage chapel for sick children. Formerly, the sick child's weight in a crib in grain was used to determine the donation that had to be made to the chapel for its use. The many votive tablets inside the chapel still bear witness today to the chapel's function as a place of prayer. Architecturally interesting is the little pulpit outside the chapel. It was formerly necessary for the priest to preach to believers gathered outside in the open field before the chapel from this outdoor pulpit, because the chapel was too small. The chapel was first mentioned in 1656. It was newly built in 1717. In 2004, the chapel was once again lavishly renovated by local volunteer helpers, and since then it has shone with new radiance. The Fintenkapelle is the municipality's landmark. Before the French Revolution, the lords of Wartburg held the landlordship in the imperial knightly lordship of Bergweiler. Years-long legal proceedings over imperial immediacy before the imperial chamber court were rendered obsolete in 1794 by the French occupation of the area. In 1815, Bergweiler became part of the Kingdom of Prussia. Since 1946, it has been part of the then newly founded state of Rhineland-Palatinate. The village is even today, both by the inhabitants and on maps, divided into two Ortsteile. The old centre with the church is called Bergweiler or Unterdorf, whereas the newer part, which is a few meters higher than the older part, is called Oberbergweiler or Oberdorf. Meanwhile, the further building that comes with population growth means that the village is growing together more and more. Politics. Municipal Council. The council is made up of 12 council members, who are elected by proportional representation at the municipal election held on the 7th of June 2009, and the honorary mayor as chairman. The 12 seats on council are shared between the Thielen Voters Group and the Bergweiler Free Voters Group. Coat of arms. The German blazon reads, Schild geht out, oben in Schwarzsein Goldbeerkronter und Goldbeerwerte silberne wachsende Low, and 10 silber rot geschackt. The municipality's arms might in English heraldic language be described thus: profess sable a demi-lion rampant argent-armed and crowned or and chequy argent and gules. To establish the historical basis for Bergweiler's coat of arms, one must go back to the territorial situation before 1789. Bergweiler's landlord was the Baron of Wartburg. He exercised his powers within the imperially immediate lordship of Bergweiler, which had been transferred to the Counts of Sponheim. Bergweiler's coat of arms must therefore express both the overlordship of the Counts of Sponheim and the landlordship of the Barons of Wartburg. This was done by composing a coat of arms party profess whose lower half shows the Sponheim's silver and red checkerboard pattern, and whose upper half shows a black field charged with the Wartburg's silver lion. By approval in 1967, Bergweiler was granted the right to bear its own arms. Culture and sightseeing. At the Eiffel Heimat Museum, agricultural equipment and tools from the 19th century are shown. In the middle of the museum stands an oil painting that shows one of the many legends surrounding the history of the Wittlich Sobrennachirmes. The painting, believed to be the biggest oil painting in Rhineland-Palatinate, was painted by Otto Frankfurter. The Wurzelstein is a pillar-like, isolated crag measuring some 2 to 3 meters in cross-section with relatively smooth surfaces. It stands at the municipal limit, where it crosses the old way from Bergweiler to Dries. According to legend, it is a sacrifice stone. Since 1940 it has been a natural monument. Fintenkapelle, a small pilgrimage chapel from the 17th century outside the village.